we go again, talking business. And look, there's a lot of things going on. You've got some different strikes affecting us. You've got economies that are having some challenges, and so forth. But the Michigan Chamber announcing the formation of the new Great Lakes Growth Coalition because they're trying to grow business here in the state. Wendy Block joining me. She's the Vice President of Business Advocacy and Member Engagement at the Michigan Chamber of Commerce. Wendy, welcome back.
Yes, thanks for having me, Steve.
So the Great Lakes Growth Coalition, what is this and why is it important?
Yeah, so over the last 10 months under this new legislature, the business groups really have been increasingly concerned about some of this fast-moving legislation and how it might put Michigan's economic and population growth at risk. So this Great Lakes Growth Coalition came together because we want to amplify small business voices across the state and help lawmakers understand that many of these anti-business, anti-growth policy proposals pending in Lansing will have real consequences.
Right. And man, it's been tough sledding in Michigan. And, there's a lot of indicators out there that it's going to get a little tougher as we go forward into 2024. So anything you can do, obviously, to create a better atmosphere and environment for business is really critical at this time, isn't it?
Yeah, we think so. I mean, there is a big push to do a lot of very extreme, frankly, economically damaging things in Lansing. And our goal with the Great Lakes Coalition is to provide a counterweight to those driving these conversations and to create an avenue for the business community to get more involved, to understand what is on the table in Lansing, and to give them an opportunity to make their voice heard. Because the business community really needs to engage here or suffer the consequences. And so Great Lakes Growth is intended to showcase kind of what is going on in Lansing that people may not be super aware of, but might have to live with at the end of the day if we don't collectively make our voices heard and make them louder.
Well, one of the most unsettling things that we talked about here is the idea that Michigan's 1,800, give or take, local units of government could all be separated from where we are currently, and then they could all change the regulations. Oh, we got to pay this for minimum wage. Oh, we've got to meet this regulatory requirement. We've got to, my God, you couldn't build a road through two townships if it was that way, if the two townships were at odds over a number of topics. I mean, to me, I don't even understand why anybody would pursue such a thing, because it would create complete chaos and insanity, and yet that's being discussed in Lansing.
It is. And, the Great Lakes Growth Coalition really houses a number of other issue-based coalitions, one of which is legislation, fighting back on legislation that would give the green light to Michigan's 1,800 local units of government to pass their own patchwork scheme of local employment laws. But we're also tackling things like severe restrictions on independent contractors, which would impact workers and businesses alike, right, by eliminating the use of independent contractors across our economy.
Well, and here's a question I ask, Wendy, and this, and I ask this of people, and it's not rhetorical, it's a serious question. Is a union job more important than a non-union job? And that comes to the forefront right now because of the UAW strike. We just saw a huge hospital strike. Doesn't really affect us here, but we see these strikes. And so I ask people with a straight face, because they look at you funny, is a union job more important than a non-union job? And the answer, of course, is no. Not to that household, right. Not to that breadwinner. No, these jobs are all important. And there are more non-union jobs by far in Michigan and America than there are union jobs. They are all important, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. All jobs are critical to our economy, to the success of our communities, to the success of our individual families, right? And look, this isn't really about being anti-union, right? We have many members across our economy who have unionized workplaces, and employers and employees have decided alike that works for them. But there are also non-unionized employers and people, families, individuals who have chosen not to become part of a union in their workforce, and we respect their decision to make that choice, right? So this coalition has really come together, not about personalities or being for the union or against the union, but really just to talk about these critical issues facing our state. The governor talks a lot about growing Michigan's population, growing the state's economy, and we just have a very, I think, different opinion about how we're going to achieve that. It's not personal. It's really about policy and substance, and that's what this coalition is focused on.
Exactly. So we need to make Michigan user-friendly for businesses. I mean, again, we saw, and you saw this too, there was a prediction made that the job market in Michigan won't get any better or stronger until at least 2030. I mean, that's not exactly a very upbeat report. And that's, and maybe it doesn't even happen then. I mean, well, why do they continue to pursue these anti-business initiatives? Do they think that government creates money? Government creates no money. The only money that goes to government is what we provided as taxpayers. I mean, it's pretty simple to figure out. And yet I feel like some of the folks working in Lansing and elsewhere are challenged on the basic understanding of finance and economics.
Yeah, business really lifts up communities. It lifts up families. So you can't kind of be anti-business and say that you're somehow pro-growth, pro-family, pro-community. All of these things are so intertwined. And, really that's the message we're trying to get out with the Great Lakes Growth Coalition is that, look, you need to be thinking about how these individual policy decisions impact business, because ultimately it impacts everyone, and really need to be thinking about ways of how we are going to grow our state's economy, to grow population, to grow the workforce participation rate. And I think we can all agree with those goals. There's just maybe some sharp differences of opinion about how do we get there. And I think the business community needs to, their voices need to be heard in these debates, because ultimately they're going to be the ones making decisions about whether to expand in Michigan, to come to Michigan, and that impacts everything, families, communities, and the like.
Or even stay in Michigan. We need to retain employers as well. In other states like Tennessee or Florida or Texas, they're making things pretty attractive in some of those places by reducing the barriers, helping out the employers, helping out the employees, lowering tax levels and so forth. So in order to compete, we have to compete. And having a hodgepodge of different things from government to government, that is the polar opposite of what we need. And you're doing the right thing at the chamber. Wendy, go ahead and tell folks how they can find out more.
Sure. We would love people to go to greatlakesgrowth.com. That's our landing page, our website. You can check out the individual coalitions there, and also follow us on Facebook as well as X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, formerly known as Twitter. I'm thinking about changing my name too, Wendy. I haven't decided to what yet. Anyhow, Wendy Block, Vice President, Business Advocacy and Member Engagement at the Michigan Chamber, michamber.com, and you can find out more. As always, thank you.
Thank you.